Thank you so very kindly that you join us for King's Newsroom at 6, King's 88.5. I'm Sam Andrews. The top stories. The Chief of Staff to former President George Weah confirms that the party will begin the construction of a new headquarters this year when the committee is announced later this evening. Citizens Movement for Change political leader Musability expresses sorrow over CDC's headquarters eviction, described it as a sad day for Liberian politics and the country's democracy. The Liberia National Police lost the opposition Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and calm cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and demolition of its headquarters in Congo Town. Away from Liberia, Nigeria's military has killed at least 35 jihadists in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon, the authorities said. These are the top stories, the bulletin, and the voices of those behind the news. Let's have the news bulletin. The Chief of Office Staff to former President George Weah has announced or sent the committee to oversee the construction of CDC new headquarters will be announced late Monday evening. According to Len Eugene Nangwe, when former President George Weah returns to Liberia, the groundbreaking ceremony will take place and the party headquarters will be completed within a year. Eugene Nangwe said before the police move in to surround the headquarters of the Congress for Democratic Change, he personally called Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman and appealed to him for an extension up to Wednesday so that the party could take its materials out of the compound. But the Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman refused and insisted that the police was moving in to forcibly evict and destroy the party's headquarters. Eugene Nangwe said they would sue the government and the Liberia National Police for illegal demolition of its properties. Former President George Weah had sharply criticized the Bouaka administration, accusing the government of interfering in a legal matter that led to the eviction and demolition of the party's former national headquarters. On Saturday, the Liberia National Police, acting on a court order, evicted CDC from its headquarters in Congo Town and carried out mass demolition of the party's property. In a special address to the nation Saturday, the CDC standard bearer described the demolition as unlawful and politically motivated. Former President Weah accused the Unity Party-led government of attempting to erase CDC legacy and contributions to Liberia's democratic process. He asserted that CDC had respected the rule of law and expressed its willingness to comply with the court's final decision regarding the ownership dispute, but claimed that the police acted outside legal bounds allegedly under the instruction of President Joseph Boakai. Former President Weah described the Unity Party under Boakai's leadership as force of destruction, while terming the CDC as a political institution committed to national development and unity. The former Liberian president urged members and supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change to remain calm and law-abiding amid the crisis, revealing that a special national headquarters delivery committee is being established to promptly commence the construction of the party's new state-of-the-art headquarters. Meanwhile, in response to the allegations of interference in the court's ruling, President Boakai, upon his return from TCAT 9 conference in Japan, denied all claims against his administration. He claimed that the Liberia National Police only acted strictly based on the court's judgment and in accordance with the law, rejecting the accusation of political interference. Still with CDC forceful eviction, Citizens Movement for Change, political leader Musability has expressed sorrow over CDC headquarters eviction and destruction, describing it as a sad day for Liberian politics and democracy. Representative Musability, in a press statement issued over the weekend, said Liberia's fragile political culture does not need any more humiliation, division, despite the fact that the matter may find justification in the law. According to Musability, the humiliation of CDC does not constitute a victory for democracy, and the only legitimate and proper way to defeat a political party is through the ballot. The CMC political leader pointed out that the event that occurred at CDC headquarters in Congo Town is cheapening Liberia's multi-party democracy foundation because they should not have occurred and no one should find joy in them. The opposition political party also cautioned Unity Party to stop celebrating CDC's eviction and destruction, but rather reflect on it because it faced similar circumstances in the past when the political climate flipped. Representative Musability noted that Liberia's democracy can survive humiliation and revenge, adding that the only way it can grow is through tolerance, civility, and genuine competition of ideas. The Liberia National Police has lauded the Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and calm cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and destruction of its former national headquarters in Congo Town. Speaking after the eviction and destruction on Saturday, LNP Inspector General Gregory Coleman highlighted the calm and restraint shown by members and supporters of CDC, noting that their conduct demonstrated respect for the rule of law despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. Inspector General Gregory Coleman also added that the party's eviction reflects a high level of maturity that strengthens Liberia's democratic principles and values. According to IG Coleman, such movement is not just a testament to CDC leadership, but also a reminder to all political institutions and Liberians that the country's democracy can grow stronger when lawful decisions are honored peacefully. The Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman reaffirmed the LNP commitment to engaging all political parties, civil society organizations, and communities to safeguard space for peaceful and democratic participation. The Ministry of Justice has extended its campaign on the anti-mob justice to the borough of New Town on the Butcher Island. Speaking during the campaign held at the town hall, the Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety at the Ministry of Justice, Cora Konowa, reaffirmed the government's commitment in the protection of Liberians and foreign residents. She encouraged community leaders to serve as ambassadors of the Justice Ministry in their respective communities to curb the prevalence of mob justice. According to Minister Konowa, mob justice constitutes violation of the law, adding that Liberia is governed by laws which call for the respect of human rights. The program was graced by a number of people, including community leaders, representatives from the Federation of Liberian Youth, Montserrat County chapter of the Liberia National Police, Civil Society Council of Liberia, and others. Senate Pro Tem Yombli Kanga Lawrence has raised serious concern about stealth handling of mining tailings in Grand Bassa County. Speaking on a local radio station over the weekend, the Grand Bassa County Senator demanded refund of monies collected by Steel Fund, noting it has no legal approval from the Ministry of Mines and Energy. According to Senate Pro Tem Yomlikaga Lawrence, there is currently a legal case involving another company over the same tailings, questioning the processes of engaging the companies, signing agreements, and granting authorization. The Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, in collaboration with Samaritan Purse, has certificated 39 Liberian returnees following their completion of training in micro-entrepreneurship. Speaking at the certification ceremony in Congo Town during the weekend, LRRC Executive Director Jackson Pay commended Samaritan Purse for the opportunity provided the returnees. According to him, the training provided the returnees. It's not the end of the collaboration with Samaritan Purse, but the beginning, and call on the trainees to serve as good examples among their colleagues. Also speaking, Samaritan Purse Program Development Officer Depli Savyasaki said the project, titled Homecoming Program, focused on working with returnees, was intended to empower former refugees on reducing their dependency. Some of the returnees from Ghana thanked Samaritan Purse for training them to fish for themselves and those of their dependents. The Liberia National Police Maghibi County Detachment has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of a young man identified as Jonah Fineboy. Jonah, a resident of Maghibi, popularly known as Sweet Candy, was found dead Sunday morning in a pool of blood by local residents. Eyewitnesses and community members described the deceased as someone who was popularly supported police operations in Kakata and denied any allegations linking him to criminal activity. According to them, Jonah was a peaceful and dedicated individual known for encouraging community members, including commercial motorcyclists, to comply with police directive and uphold the rule of law. The residents are now calling on the police to conduct a thorough and impartial investigation to bring those responsible to justice. In a related development, a commercial motorcyclist was reportedly killed by individuals believed to be criminals in Grand Bassa County. According to reports, the perpetrators posed as passengers before attacking the rider and stealing his motorbike. The incident sparked outrage among local cyclists, many of whom are threatening to take matters into their own hands by targeting suspected ghettos and criminal hangouts in retaliation of their colleagues' death. The authorities in the county are urging calm and promise to take appropriate action to address the incident. About 500 students in 8 counties have been awarded scholarship by Prison Fellowship Liberia with funding from Prison Fellowship International. Prison Fellowship Liberia country representative Pastor Francis Colley disclosed that the beneficiaries of the scholarship program are children of inmates of prisons from 8 counties. According to him, the project, codename Promise Path, is intended to reduce challenges faced by children of inmates to acquire education. The program, held at Painesville Community School, was graced by students, guardians, and parents. Away from Liberia, Nigeria's military has killed at least 35 jihadists in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon. The authorities said the strikes were carried out in 4 areas to prevent an attempt by jihadists to attack ground troops. Nigeria has been battling jihadist groups for more than a decade as well as violent gangs, sectarian conflict, and widespread kidnappings for ransom. On Saturday, a group of prominent Nigerians, including ex-government ministers, business persons, and civil society activists, issued a statement raising concern that parts of Nigeria were enduring wartime levels of slaughter while the country was officially at peace. As you heard in the news bulletin, former President George Weah has criticized the Barker administration, accusing it of interfering in a legal matter that led to the eviction and destruction of the party's headquarters in Congo Town. On Saturday, the Liberia National Police, acting on court order, evicted and destroyed the Congress for Democratic Change headquarters in Congo Town. In a statement, CDC political leader George Weah described the demolition as unlawful and politically motivated. He accused President Joseph Yuma Boakai of being the mastermind behind the party's eviction and destruction.
Happy partisans, leadership of the police force, with direct instruction from Boakai himself, spurred into actions. There was not a lawful eviction. It was a failed mission to destroy and erase the CDC in an attempt to fulfill their very wish Boakai has repeatedly expressed to his lieutenants. While executing this criminal act, they made the cheers of their partisans. They failed to notice the loud silence of the vast majority of ordinary Liberians. Our people are in disbelief at this administration. Reckless behavior in its quest to consolidate power. Posterity will punish them harshly, while the loss of our office building is a setback. I want to emphasize that it is only temporary. We shall overcome this sooner rather than later.
A former president said, Unity Party did plan it. It was an institutional decision and not solely the court.
Today, we witness yet another testament of the Unity Party government gross disregard for the rule of law. Emboldened by impunity, they continue to abuse power, testing our nation's fragile peace and democracy. Their list of violations grows daily, from police brutality against ordinary citizens to outright disregard of court orders. We must, however, take the high road. In the interest of peaceful coexistence, I urge everyone to remain calm, law-abiding, and respectful of due process, despite this partisan political mischief from the Unity Party government.
The political leader of the Congress for Democratic Change, George Weah. The Liberal National Police has lauded the opposition Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and calm cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and destruction of its party headquarters in Congo Town. On Saturday, Inspector General Gregory Coleman highlighted the calm and restraint shown by members and supporters of the party, noting that their conduct demonstrated respect for the rule of law despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property.
The Liberian National Police commends the Congress for Democratic Change for the discipline, calm, and statesmanship demonstrated during the recent eviction process. Their respect for the rule of law, despite the deep sentimental value and history attached to the property, reflects a maturity that strengthens Liberia's democracy. This moment is not only a testament to CDC's leadership, but also a reminder to all political institutions and citizens that our democracy grows stronger when lawful decisions are honored peacefully.
The Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, Gregory Coleman. About 500 students in 8 counties have been awarded scholarship by Prison Fellowship Liberia with funding from Prison Fellowship International. Prison Fellowship Liberia Country Representative Pastor Francis Colley disclosed that the beneficiaries of the scholarship program are children of inmates of prisons from 8 counties.
Today's program marks the beginning of 2025-2026 calendar, which we call the Back to School program for students. You saw the parents, these are guardians who are very excited because some of those children, their parents are in jail, their mothers are in jail, their fathers in jail, or the caregivers in jail. And so we just brought them together to give them hope. Your hope is never lost because once Prison Fellowship is around, your children education is our burden, and we're going to make sure that because this is part of the arrest agenda under this new government to make sure that the kids have access to quality educations. And we want to just work and collaborate with national government to empower those who do not have the less fortunate people like prisoners' children. They are the most forgotten people. They are the most forgotten ones. No one wants to hear their voices. No one cares for them. And so we have hundreds of them that are going to be returning to school in 8 counties. And so we are just so excited. And to God be the glory. We say thanks to Prison Fellowship International and our mother body for giving us their ultimate support, to have this program run again this year. There will be approximately close to 500 children across 8 counties, Liberia. But it could be even more than that because sometimes we go to do payment of school fees and then you see some other children that are very much in need. Sometimes the principal will say, oh, this child is in school, but they have not paid their school fees. We sometimes help them to come in to help them so that they remain on the roster of the school. Last year we won the GW Gibson where we had to pay for few students who were in school but they have not paid fees. So now the number increases, and then we're just grateful to God. We're hoping that this year they will even improve more. They should not lose hope because your parents are in jail, but you still have hope because the reason we're sending them to school is that they cannot be wayward and they can't go to drugs, they can't do sexual exploitations. And so we just want to say to them that they have a good hope, and we will work with them to make sure that they have a brighter future because these are the future of Liberia. Prison Fellowship Liberia is just so exciting, and we say thanks to the government for adding this aspect of their platform, which is the quality education for our kids, of our citizenry.
That's Prison Fellowship Liberia Country Director, Pastor Francis Colley. If you're listening to News King's News Broom at 6 with me, Sam Andrews, the top stories: the Chief of Staff to former President George Weah says the committee to oversee the construction of CDC new state-of-the-art headquarters will be announced later today. Citizens Movement for Change political leader expresses sorrow over CDC headquarters eviction and destruction, described it as sad day for Liberian politics and democracy. The Liberia National Police lost the opposition Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and crime cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and destruction of its former headquarters in Congo Town. Nigeria's military has killed at least 35 jihadis in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon, the authorities said. When we come back, more stories. The Ministry of Justice has extended its campaign on the anti-mob justice to the borough of Town on the Butcher Island. Speaking during the campaign held at the town hall, Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety at the Ministry of Justice, Cora Konowa, reaffirmed the government's commitment in the protection of Liberians and foreign residents. She encouraged community leaders to serve as ambassadors of the Justice Ministry in their respective communities to curb the prevalence of mob violence.
We cannot continue to pretend that mob violence is not a problem because our friends and families have not been affected. With mob violence, you can never know the next victim. It will be you, it will be your children, your husband, your wives, or just anyone. Mob violence is not justice. Why? Because you will be killing or hurting the wrong person. Because we have a criminal justice system that includes the police, the courts, and prisons, and not angry community members. Because there is a punishment for every crime around the world. And even if someone killed, death is not a punishment. Because if we continue to accept more violence as a way of life, we will all become victims of it soon. We have to do something about more violence as a people. We have come as a ministry of justice, as implementers of the President's Arrest General under the rule of law period, to say that we are competing against more violence and we want Liberia and Liberians to be free of more violence. As a government, we are committed to ensuring that your lives and properties are protected, that we all be made free from the threat of more violence. This is our commitment. As a people, what is your commitment? We want to work with you so that Liberia is free from more violence.
Senate Pro Tem Yombli Kanga Lawrence has raised serious concern about steel front handling of mining tailings in Grand Bassa County. Speaking on a local radio station over the weekend in the county, the Grand Bassa County Senator demanded refund of monies collected by Steel Fund, noting it has no legal approval from the Ministry of Mines and Energy.
Now have the authority now to make those decisions, and because the tailings issue is still in court, and another company who does not have license has made some commitment and made their first payment, some payments to our accounts, and whatever they are acting on is not legal. So that is not a good repetition for us as a county.
Pro Tem Yomlikanga Lawrence. The Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, in collaboration with Samaritan Purse, has certificated 39 Liberian returnees following their completion of training in micro-entrepreneurship. Speaking at the certification ceremony held in Congo Town during the weekend, LRRC Executive Director Jackson Pay commended Samaritan Purse for the opportunity provided the returnees.
I'm very grateful for that. It is not the end, but the beginning. The organizer, the sponsor of this workshop. A lot of things we sometimes underestimate. There are certain things that we think that we cannot do. Sometimes the power that we have, we don't realize that until we venture into the movie. Sitting here and listening to that young lady starting our own business and where we are today, Lord, it's an inspiration, very inspirational. That's why I say feeling that I carry today is overwhelming. So I want to say thank you first to the proprietors, the staff, and all the people that made this happen. We always look for government to help, government to employ. Even those of us in politics, everybody wants to be employed, which is their right. But you know what? The space for employment development is limited. So you make your things, you make your own thing happen, and that's what you do right here. Thank you so much for that. The president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Newman Walker, the person that I served, the kind of respect he has for Samaritan Press. When I met him, he and I were having one-on-one discussions. We talked about, some of the help and so on. Then he said, "Have you tried Samaritan Press?" I said, "Oh yeah, chief." Then he went into the background and where Samaritan Press headquarters is in the states and where he knew more than I did. So for me to say thank you, it's an understatement. I really, really appreciate you. We appreciate Samaritan Press from the depth of our hearts. Yeah. The president of Liberia actually appreciate the effort that you are making here. And really, really, I accepted and so grateful to you. You tell the country director and the board of director, I don't know how ever your organization is structured. Tell them that the government of Liberia is very, very appreciative of you to LRRC. Because what you have done here today, you lift us, you left a lot of work from us. Because these people are going to be entrepreneurs. Yeah. They are going to be employing other people. They are going to be providing opportunities.
LRRC Executive Director Jackson Pay. Also speaking at that ceremony, Samaritan Purse Program Development Officer Dapeli Sayaskasaki said the project is intended to empower foreign or former refugees on reducing their dependency.
I know that anything that Samaritan Purse is able to do, it's not because we want to do, we can. We do because God enables us to do. Yes. And God, your prayers, when you pray, know that there is so much power in your prayers that moves the donor around the world. Yes. To donate to Samaritan Purse so that we can then go and help and meet your needs. We don't do it because we want to do it. We are human, right? Yes. We do everything because God commanded us to do. Yes. We do everything in Jesus' name. The main mission Samaritan Purse has is we run to the fire. where there is so much more need and nobody else can meet, is where God moves. I just am so overwhelmed because I cannot believe that whatever you have been through, I can't ever imagine because I come from a very stable country. We never faced any war. We never had to leave our home. So I can't imagine your pain. Even if I try, I cannot. But God knows that. He sees your heart. You know, so sometimes it's good to just follow the Lord and pray and walk in obedience before the Lord. When I said pray like Rachel and she said, well, they went in 2 weeks, nobody came back, right? It might have felt like a long time. But trust me, God was moving because we were there trying to figure out and pray, Lord, please provide us so we can provide. If it is your will, move. He did make a way for you here. And this is not the end, it is the beginning. How many of you will look back one day and say, oh, I started like this? And
The Liberia National Police Magibi County Detachment has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of a young man identified as Jonah Fanboy. Jonah, a resident of Magibi, popularly known as Sweet Candy, was found dead Sunday morning in a pool of blood by local residents. Eyewitnesses and community members described the deceased as someone who was regularly supporting police operations in Kakata and deny any allegations linking him to criminal acts.
Everybody tell them niggas Steve about a beat line. Allah. Who let bloody and very scared? They will play in police station, the club is the parliament. You don't see the man, different place. Allah. The rock battle, the other man, rock back for me. The rock back, who will back for me? Allah. Nah, but you see, all we have Magina can tell you, Magina know long people. The same thing, very good. I'm a witness of it. If you can say, being motorcycle union, we discuss the motorcyclists on some occasions and stuff. Yeah, but for it to say stealing, Allah. Allah. Most often you see around the police station, sometimes serving duty at night, them in the process. Or you go we say to the entertainment center. Allah. I'm mischievous.
Away from Liberia, Nigeria's military has killed at least 35 jihadis in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon, the authorities said. The strikes were carried out in 4 areas to prevent an attempt by the jihadis to attack ground troops. Nigeria has been battling jihadist groups for more than a decade, as well as violent criminal gangs, sectarian conflict, and widespread kidnappings for ransom. On Saturday, a group of prominent Nigerians, including ex-government ministers, business persons, and civil society activists, issued a statement raising concern that parts of Nigeria were enduring wartime levels of slaughter while the country was officially at peace. The group cited a report released in May by rights group Amnesty International, which said that at least 10,217 people have been killed since President Bola Tinubu took office 2 years ago. It called for the formation of a presidential task force with wide-ranging powers to end the numerous conflicts, including the resurgence of the militant Islamic group Boko Haram and the breakaway Islamic State West Africa province in the Northeast. Well, that's all the time we've got for King's Newsroom at 6. But a reminder of the top stories before we go. The Chief of Office Staff to former President George Weah says the committee to oversee the construction of CDC new state-of-the-art headquarters will be announced later on Monday. According to Eugene Nangbe, when former President George Weah returns to Liberia. The groundbreaking ceremony will take place and the party new headquarters will be completed within a year. Citizens Movement for Change political leader Musa Bility has expressed sorrow over CDC headquarters eviction and destruction, described it as sad day for Liberian politics and the country's democracy. Representative Musa Bility said Liberia's fragile political culture does not need any more humiliation and division, despite the fact that the matter may find justification in the law. The Liberia National Police lost the opposition Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and calm cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and destruction of its former headquarters in Congo Town. Speaking after the eviction and destruction on Saturday, Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman highlighted the calm and restraint shown by members and supporters of the party, noting that their conduct demonstrated respect for the rule of law, despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. Nigeria's military has killed at least 35 jihadis in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon. The strikes were carried out in 4 areas to prevent an attempt by jihadis to attack ground troops, the military said. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 for another bulletin of news, King's Newsroom. Marvin Varr handled the technical aspect. I'm Sam Andrews. Good night.